Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone. Wa assalam. We are good.
Assalamualaikum.
Let me introduce.
Sir, should we start?
You can start. Yeah, you can start.
Yes.
We can have some discussion, then you can move on. Okay. Since you can wait another 4-5 minutes. What about? I can see Professor Khirmani.
She's joined. I can see her.
Yes, joined. Okay. So we need to introduce her first.
Hello, Dr. Khirmani. Are you online? We cannot hear you. Maybe you're on mute.
She's on mute. I can see she.
I am, but I am trying to share my video, which I did earlier.
We saw you for a brief moment. Now we can see you. Hello.
Hello, Professor Khirmani.
Good morning.
How are you?
To Americans and good afternoon, everybody in Bangladesh.
Yes, good evening, right?
Yeah.
Before we start, let me introduce one of our guests. He is from Texas A&M University, Muhammad Abul Kalam. Can you hear me, Professor Kalam?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
No,
Hello, everybody. I'm not showing my face. I'm not in a position to show my video, but my video is working fine, but environment is not. Anyway.
You can tell some word for the participants. Then we can move on to our session.
Oh, for me, anyway, so I am ex-professor, chemistry professor at Texas A&M, Texarkana. I am head of the department right now, and I have been here for since fall 2014, and I hope to talk to you everybody on 15th July, right? And so
yes.
I don't know what else you expect from me. I was not prepared for anything else other than that introduction.
Thank you. Now, Humaira, you can start introducing our guest.
Okay, sure, sir. Assalamualaikum. I am Humaira Firdaus Shifa. I am the chair of IEEE AUST Student Branch, and I am welcoming you all in today's session. It is our Career Talk session 4.0. So before we start, let me introduce you to our guests today. So we have with us today as our keynote speaker, Mr. Bilaluddin, and he is the Senior Software Support Specialist. He's working in Walters Clover, New York, USA, and he has done his bachelor's from Towson University in Computer Information System in 2001, and he has done his A-levels and O-levels from British Council, Bangladesh, under University of London, and we have with us our special guest speaker, Mubina Hasan Ali Khirmani, and Dr. Mubina Hasan Ali Khirmani did her doctorate in education at Harvard University, Cambridge, and worked in the media lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. She worked in the World Bank, Washington, D.C., on women's education in sub-Saharan Africa. Currently, she is a professor at Towson University in Maryland. She is invited to present her topics of education in both the United States and internationally. And with us, we have our special guest, Dr. A.K.M. Bakisar, who is a professor at the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering at Ahsanullah University of Science and Technology. Sar is also the counselor of IEEE AUST Student Branch. He's the member of Academia Council of AUST and senior member of IEEE. Sar is the former postdoctoral research fellow at Australian Research Council. So this was a brief introduction about our speakers today. So thank you so much, all of you who has joined us today here. We can see we have 26 participants. So I won't delay anymore. I would request our special guest today, Professor Dr. A.K. Baki sir, to share his thoughts on online learning perspective of Bangladesh. Sir, please.
Thank you, Humaida. Let me share some of my experience from my own online lectures as well as from world perspective. It may take about 10 or 15 minutes. Let's see. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, you can see the title. Humaira also has mentioned that I am the counselor of student branch, IEEE student branch of Ahsanullah University and Technology, as at the same time professor of the department of IEEE. Yeah, you can see the title. It's related to a new perspective.
So can I interrupt you for one moment? You know,
yes,
we keep hearing Tripoli. It takes me to Libya. So can you please say one time the full version of Tripoli?
Oh, it's electrical and electronic engineering.
Thank you.
So just a few difference between face-to-face and online class system. As all of you know that face-to-face class has some merits with respect to whiteboard as well as PowerPoint presentation or other types of slide presentation, but online system has various means that I will be explaining in short. And we have a special guest, Dr. Khirmani. You will learn something new from her. Face-to-face class system or semester system, particularly since this is related to university learning system, so there has been paper-based assessment, but online system we haven't got any standard yet. We have to wait for that type of standard. Face-to-face class, one advantage of face-to-face class is that close proximity to university. On the other hand, online class system, and particularly during this pandemic situation, students' location is dispersed. So particularly in Bangladesh, it's all over the Bangladesh. Now, as you can see, I have collected this graph from a reference, Global Energy Review 2020. And from this graph, you can see, starting from March or mid-March or starting from 1st April, you can see some graphs. I will focus on only school and universities. You can see one graph related to school and universities. Almost all over the world, 100% universities, schools, as well as, I mean, in general, educational institutions are in lockdown situation. So what to do? What to do with respect to the future career of the students? There are concerns, future career, semester delay, and naturally we didn't find any other option to run the semester. So what to do? We had to move on to online system with the available resources. Okay, and when we started the classes, we have found or encountered some challenges from both sides. Both are, you can say, from different sides: student perspective, teachers perspective, university perspective, and national perspective, even global perspective. One was the curriculum. Second challenge was infrastructure. For online class system, what should be the infrastructure? Why are we ready? And another point, as I have mentioned before, nationwide distribution of learners. Some other challenges, one of them most critical is psychological stresses. In some cases, I'm not talking particularly about students, in some cases, reduced income, or in some cases, no income. And COVID-related infection, fear of death. Most importantly, we don't know the period of this COVID-19 crisis. So yeah, in one side, there are losses due to this issue, COVID issue. On the other hand, we had to move on from academic perspective. You can see that academics, particularly faculty members, had to work 60% more. So this is the data that I have collected from IEEE website. And yeah, of course, adapting to new e-learning system. It is true for both, I mean, teachers' perspective as well as student perspective. This slide I have also taken from a webinar, collected from IEEE webinar. As you can see, there are legal issues in asking this type of question. I mean, from teacher side, we cannot ask, do you have laptop? Do you have single laptop, or what is your data plan? Do you have dedicated workspace in your home or wherever you live? Last one, definitely, loss of income. And yeah, let me move on to next slide. So there are disparities in terms of online classes. That means scope of online class for, okay, some students are getting opportunities, and we need to make sure whether there are any other challenges for any student, as well as resources, teachers resources, student resources. Long time stay at home, whether it's good, definitely it's not good. Then access to essential materials. I will say, with respect to online classes, and during this COVID period, I have seen that yes, it is increased. This is one positive sign. On the other hand, increased responsibility. In some cases, students, particularly, all of, even teachers, students, teachers, both of them, can say, in some cases, students need to help their parents or their brothers, children, or some other responsibilities have increased. So now, considering those issues, you can see with online classes, we can divide, you can see 4 blocks with 4 different colors. I will explain. From my own experience, I will explain these 4 blocks. One of them, you can see the red one with real-time direct contact with the student, video conferencing. Then asynchronous one, the yellow one, then uploading some document as well as, or rather less contact. One example is email. So let me explain all these 4 blocks. One thing, we haven't decided yet, the laboratory experiment is still pending what to do. We need to figure it out, how to solve this issue. So I will not discuss this part further. With respect to the one, you can see red one, Zoom class. So we have got one facility. We have got Zoom software from University Grant Commission. This is a corporate software, and already we are also using the Zoom. So Zoom has some features like PowerPoint presentation, interactive software, video playback, as well as, there are some other features. So I have been using this Zoom for real-time classes. Next challenging part was with respect to, again, Zoom, to explain some difficult figure as well as this mathematical equation related to the figure. You can see one example. I have taken these 2 slides from my postgraduate classes. So this slide and this one, what I have done, I have prepared some pre-recorded video. This is, as you can see, these are images, but actually these are taken from 2 different videos. Then I prepared those videos, then I played the videos, and at the same time, I explained it. Next, I have kept another option. You can see Facebook with yellow colored one. That means not real time, but asynchronous, and uploaded the video, either pre-recorded one or recorded one, or sometimes real time one. The real time one has some issues, legal issues. Okay, so what I have done, I have used this software, OBS Studio. This software has some features, recording features. Well, apart from this, some of our faculty members are also using YouTube and provided the YouTube to students so that they can watch the video later on. In this case, okay, you might have questioned why we need all this code, because we are not prepared and we are not sure about student facilities as well as overall scenario. So as I have mentioned, I had to consider all these code blocks. So what I have observed when I have uploaded the recorded video or pre-recorded video on Facebook, student response was very good. As you can see, about 117 students have viewed this video. Next option can be Google Classroom. You are familiar with Google Classroom, that I have uploaded the video as well as study material, so that the student can ask question with less bandwidth as well as not real time. So this option, that means, I mean the green colored one, less bandwidth, less interaction, as well as blue colored one. That means there are both options: real time interaction through Google, or uh, I mean not real time interaction was there. So I have covered all these four. Now question is, which one is suitable? Yet I don't know. Just I was reading a paper regarding these issues, considering the issues of the universities of Bangladesh. So I keep the conclusion pending. Rather, we move on to our next guest. Okay, I'm done. If you have questions that I will answer later on, better we move on to our next speaker.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really enlightening for all of us here. There is one thing that I would like to make sure that I'd like to state is that since we are running this event from a basic account, we might get disconnected, but don't get panicked if we get disconnected anytime. Just wait a few seconds and then log on to this account using the same password and the meeting ID that has been provided to you. We are trying our best to avoid this sort of difficulties, but if this arises, we are going to resume the meeting in no time. So just don't get panicked if anything like that happens. So moving on to our keynote speaker of today's event, Muhammad Bilaluddin sir, and sir will be talking about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the future of engineering students. So I'd really like to request sir to share his views on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Humaira. Very nice introduction. Before I start, I would like to get permission from Dr. Khirmani, because she joined with such a short notice, and I'm not sure if she has enough time today to stay throughout the presentations. We'll have another 1 hour. So Dr. Khirmani, would you like to finish early, or you want to wait until I finish?
No, you go ahead, and if there is time, I'll be happy to, share my thoughts. Please. After you.
We have allocated you about half an hour, just to,
I probably won't need that, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for staying with us. All right, so let me share my screen. You should be able to see it now. Can you see it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All
We
right.
can see it.
Humaira has done very good job introducing myself, so I'm not going to waste time there. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm honored. This is just the contents, brief contents of what we're going to discuss today. So these moments are not good. The pandemic era, we are going through historical moments. And I'm not going to go again into what, how, and why of the whole coronavirus thing, where it came from, what it did, and what it's going to do. This is very depressing. These are not happy topics. So I'm going to skip. And we all know by this time, we have technology in our pocket. You can get the news from around the world within moments through Facebook, through YouTube, through all the news channels. Everybody's connected. So we don't have to repeat this again and again. I'm going to move on to the next slide. The new normal, you know. Nobody in February was expecting this, that March and onwards, the whole of 2020 will be down like this. People are losing jobs. There's a big shutdown going on throughout the world. So this is, you know, these are tough times. Okay, people are not working. A lot of people are working remote, but a lot of people are not working. They don't have jobs. And this is the new normal. The economy is down, you know, nobody's hiring. We are bored. Right after the pandemic started, Ramadan started. In Ramadan, you couldn't go out. You were stuck in the house all the time. Eid, we could not get social gatherings. The restrictions on travel, people cannot travel to see their families. We live in an era, we have families living in different districts, different states, different countries. And this time allows you to, the travel industry is so robust now that it's affordable to travel between countries, between cities. But again, there are so much restrictions that we cannot travel. So, and for those who are looking, who just graduated and are looking for jobs, there's not enough interviews right now. And it's hard. Again, you know, if businesses don't survive, how will they hire you, right? So again, there are, you know, tough times on both sides. The students who have graduated, they were looking forward to having a nice career, at least begin it. But businesses also were planning to have a profitable 2020. So with the shutdown, it's just a mess, okay? So again, everybody's connected but disconnected. You cannot give a hug to your loved ones anymore, especially who don't live with you in the houses. You cannot shake hands. I mean, there are a lot of restrictions right now, you know. So in such tough times, what do we do? So definitely we have to accept the reality and just move on, you know, just be patient, you know. You have to stay fit, stay healthy. There's not a lot of room for exercise outdoor, but you have to find alternate ways to do some things inside, you know. Don't stay in one place for hours, you know, stand up, you know. We have a culture in US where when we work in the office from morning till evening, we sit in the chair for all day long. And that's very bad for you as it is. But now when you come home, there is even very little activities going on in your physical sense. So you want to have a office or an environment where you can stand up for a few hours if you have a laptop or computer. And I will show you. This is a quick demo I can do you. So I have my office set up. So sometimes I just have to stand up. Okay. And if you give me more, I have a box that I put under the laptop. So I'll make sure that this allows me to function while I'm standing up. So I can do my works. So this has been helping me a lot physically. So I don't have to sit for 8 hours in my seat. And, you know, of course you gain weight. I mean, you don't want to move anymore. So if you cannot do exercise, at least you can stand up. Okay. When we are at home all the time, and we have media available. We have TV available. We have internet available. We are so easy to get addicted to the TV or YouTube, Facebook, anything. So you have to pick up your channels carefully so you don't get a lot of negative. You don't want to watch a lot of negative news. You want to think positive. Yes, we know the things are bad. So you have to pick your channels carefully. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Oh, sorry. So this was going on. Now, again, what not to do? These are tough times, right? Incomes have shrunk. Your parents, your guardians, or yourself, you're not making a lot of money right now. Businesses are not making a lot of money. So there's no need to waste unnecessary. Good thing about Bangladesh is we come from, Bangladesh is a place where you can survive with little money. In rich countries, it's hard. We have high expense living, high standard of living. So to maintain that, we live on loans. And when job stops, what happens? You're stuck in the debt that you keep going down. So you want to control that. And I think in Bangladesh, you guys can do better, okay? Let's not get infected by the virus. It's not worth it. I know you're bored at home, stay in the house. Don't get out. There's no need to party right now, okay? Don't get the virus. Do anything you have to do. Wear mask, just avoid gatherings, okay? Again, same thing I just mentioned. Don't be hung on TV for hours and hours, till late at night. It's very easy. Once you sit on TV, it's very hard to get out. Toxic people, one bad message from your friend can ruin your day. You want to avoid that. There's not, there's a lot of data out there how you can ruin your day. So let's, in this tough times, you want to be with the positive people who speak, good to you, and there are all kinds of people out there. So you want to avoid the toxic friends, okay? Don't avoid the family members. And again, toxic news, same thing, right? Yeah, when you are in the house all the time, your roommates are your family members. So the chances are high you're going to end up fighting. You start with a small argument, okay? So you want to have a little bit of control over that. Especially do not kill yourself. It's not worth it, okay? When you are a young professional, you have the whole world in front of you. The older professionals retire, okay? The older professionals have to go home and take rest. So we need younger professionals, younger generals to come up and just, were not easily available when the pandemic was spreading all over the world. So you have to design a nice ventilators. Those are more precise and not very expensive. Okay, we should be able to manufacture ventilators as needed. You should have the mechanism available. You can put up the parts together and just create hundreds of thousands of ventilators at least every month, right? So there are a lot of opportunities when there is a need, there is a crisis, it also comes with opportunities, okay? Doctors, they are the ones who should save lives, and they are the ones who are becoming the victims. So we need to also work with the medical groups and find out how we can help. Okay? We need to provide them more securities, okay? Safety helmets, I don't know, breathable helmets, right? Masks are already there, but apparently it's not doing enough good, okay? Travel industry is so badly hit, they're losing billions of dollars. So engineers have to come up with alternate seating arrangements where people feel safe to travel, okay? So there has been some research going on in US where they're trying to figure out what would be the best scenario for plane seats so passengers can come in and go home without being infected, okay? Because it seems like this virus is going to stay for about a year or more, maybe 2, 3, we don't know. So for now, in July of 2020, we have to live with the norms. We have to think that we have to survive these periods. So, again, classrooms, Dr. Waki has discussed, and, Dr. Khirmani is going to discuss again. Online classrooms are needed right now. as much as physical classrooms. Can we sit together again like the old times? Probably not. So you have to have a lot of space. Okay, there should be some gaps between students sitting with some sort of precautions and all. Okay, pocket size app, meaning now you have tools available in your pocket, in your mobile phones, using WhatsApp, Zoom, or Facebook. You can connect your family members. So this also allows you to endeavor more into the future opportunities. What else can you do, right? Just 10, 20 years ago, we did not have the capability to do a video call so easily using our laptops even, right? So now we do. Okay. So there are a lot of opportunities growing. Now, you have to figure out how to take these opportunities into yourself. So you have to invest in yourself. Okay. This topic, today's topic is pretty huge. Impact of pandemic on the engineering students is a huge topic. Engineering is itself a big branch, of science. Within engineering, because my expertise is in IT, in information technology, I have been in IT for more than 16 years, worked as a programmer, database administrator. So I am going to help you with guidance towards how you can make your career in IT. Data science has always been there, but now we hear more about it because data science helps you extract data to benefit you.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, sure.
We haven't got Dr. Khirmani back yet. Can we do anything from our side?
So I can, maybe she's trying to reconnect. What I can do is, let me see if I can text her. Okay, I think I got a call from her. My phone was on silence. Hang on one sec. I'm calling her right now.
Hello, Bilal.
Hi, doctor. So we lost you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just waiting. Was there a link going to be sent?
So okay, let me ask these guys. Hey, Humaira or?
Yeah, sir, I'm here. Sir, ma'am has to just use the same link to join in again. I have sent an email to ma'am.
Okay.
You sent me?
Yes, so can you please?
Okay, I heard it now.
Yeah, so yeah, can you please reconnect using the same link?
Okay, somebody at the Rahman sent me.
Okay.
Yeah, I have just sent an email.
Okay, I think she's joining. Thank you, Dr. Buggy. I'm sorry, my phone was on silence and she did call me. And for distractions, leave your phone away. And we can wait. Actually, these topics may not, affect her. So I'm going to continue until she joins. Okay. So data sciences, again, these are just a few, very little that I have listed in such a short space. In IT, again, within engineering itself is huge. Within engineering, thank you. Welcome back, Dr. Khirmani. I can see you now. Thank you for joining back. So let me get back. So within engineering, you have IT, and within IT, we have huge amount of opportunities. Data sciences is it's becoming popular now, but it has always been there. One of the examples of data science is to predict what the future is going to look like. So when we look at the 2020 pandemic, everybody started to look at what happened in the past, right? Everybody started researching 1918 Spanish flu, how the world changed at that time. There was a pandemic. So that data, okay, that data was studied, right, analyzed, and now we are using to forecast our future based on that data. That what could we do? How can we make it better? How can we survive? How can we live, right? Everything counts. Now, in my field, our company, Wolters Kluwer, within Wolters Kluwer, we have a small section that I work for, is targeting. It's a CPM tool. It allows you to do corporate performance management. We do financial management. Okay. What do you do with financial data? We want profits. We want to know in 2021, right, based on the current situation, current businesses, current sales and revenue and expenses, what will our business look like? The concept is business should not die. Business has to stay. So what do? We collect data from 2019 and 2020, right? Maybe 2018 and maybe more, right? We get 5 years of data and we look at the trends, how every year the sales, profit and loss, revenues, income, expenses are playing, right? So to extract the data, right, that's called analyzing. You are analyzing data and you want to extract meaningful data, right? So you want to be able to budget for the next year, right? For 2021, you want to be able to forecast if you had 100,000 employees, what kind of expenses you're looking at, right? With the salaries and taxes and expenses. So that's where the data science come into place, and you should learn the skills on how to manipulate data to your benefit. Okay, that's where it comes from. And again, cloud technology. This is one technology that allows the whole world to connect using your phone, your laptop, and any other devices you have. For example, you have a Gmail account that you access from your computer, but you can also access from your phone, right? And again, within cloud technology, I can speak for hours, right? Java, just a programming language. Then you have databases, all kinds of databases we already know, right? And within within a data science utilities, you have big data, Hadoop, Teradata, because as users are connecting online using your phones, computers, and you're doing so much chat and transactions, right? Online transactions. So what happens is the data keeps growing. Every year there are terabytes of data. So the organizations have to have the means to absorb the data and sustain it and make it available. If you have 1 billion users, imagine how much data you can generate in 1 year. Okay, so data science is going to be there for a long time now. Okay, and these are just a few examples. Okay, in our short lecture today, I'm not going to go into details of all of these. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. Yeah, again, back to investing in yourself. Yes, you want to learn as much as possible, make yourself marketable, so you can have job opportunities when the lockdown is over. Again, for those who wants to learn, there are enormous amount of opportunities available. Okay, very affordable, very free. I mean, and learning without borders, meaning if you want to learn something that is there's a course offered in Germany, you don't have to go there anymore. You could be in the comfort zone of your bedroom. You can access those courses online. You just register. Okay, so and even Harvard offers a lot of free courses. So there are these websites, for example, EDX. Okay, EDX is one of the websites. Moose.org has always been there. Then there's a LinkedIn Learning. Okay, that you can access courses from Berkeley. Okay, all kinds of university. There are plenty of sites out there now that allows you to take courses remotely. Udemy is one of them. Coursera, okay, Slayer.org, Modern States. These are just a few to mention. And I was surprised to see that there were so many resources out there. Not all of them are free. Again, some of them are affordable. Okay. Remote jobs, right? Now that we are stuck at home, this is a great time for IT students and IT folks. They feel very secured. I feel very secured in my field now because it allows me to work from home. This is the only career that you can function fully from without being going to the office, right? These are just some of the keywords that you want to stick to when looking for jobs, right? Software developer, you have IT, you could be an IT manager, web developer, DBA, IT security analyst, data analyst, right? Systems analyst, sysadmin, data scientist, tech support. Tech support is what I do now. Tech support is just a name. It doesn't really mean anything. You still have to know everything, okay? And the list goes on and on, right? Now, in order for you to be successful in the job market meaning, you're not limited to a Dhaka city job market. With IT and remote work availabilities, you want to be able to make yourself available to the world. And how can we do that? Okay, there are a few tips here that will help you. You want to be able to have understanding of people from not the same culture as you are. Okay? That's where cross-cultural communication skills come into play. You want to be able to think critically, right? You want to be able to solve problems by coding skills. You have to have the coding skills. Okay. Network capabilities, right? Meaning you should be able to connect with professionals at different levels, communicate, effectively, connect effectively, so you can come up with some results when there's a problem within the organization. You have to be self-initiative. There are a lot of times in IT, you're just sitting by yourself. There's a problem and you don't know how to fix it. So there would be times it would be required for you to find a solution yourself. So that's where you have to be self-initiative. Okay. Again, sometimes this also can come handy when you have better interpersonal influence. Again, it all comes with the natural tendency of being able to communicate effectively. Okay. Again, adaptive thinking. You have to adapt. We are adapting now to the new era. So in technology, it keeps changing. Okay, every year there are new tools coming out. Okay, so you should be able to make yourself train on those new tools that keep coming out in the market. Otherwise, you will become obsolete. In 5 years, if you have not upgraded your training skills, the new tools out in the market, you become left behind. Okay. Yeah, again, intelligence always helps. Resilience, okay, and leadership skills will help you go a long way. If you want to be managers, directors, yes, you want to also focus on leadership skills. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next topic. This is just, again, same thing that I was just explaining. Data sciences is just a name. We have a tool called ETL. There are other companies that use FDMEE. Okay, these are just financial data management tools where, again, you collect data, you analyze, and you forecast. AI is being built on these data sciences, artificial intelligence. Okay, so robotics, right? Virtual reality. So here, what we do is you just capture data. Okay, you analyze it. Of course, after communicating with the teams, you analyze data. And then you process. Processing meaning you extract data based on what can help you, what can profit you. Okay. I'm gonna go to the next slide here. Yeah, there's a growing demand of data science. Okay. Within data science, there are many tools out there, so you don't have to be stuck in one tool. Okay. This just shows statistics of what kind of salaries. This is, again, based in US. Okay. I'm sorry, I did not have enough data for Bangladeshi market yet, or in the Asian markets. But this is just showing that we have this market available in the US. Chances are this trend will continue in the rest of the world. Okay, so this gives you hope. And I was able to hunt down some of the websites that will help you find jobs while sitting in your bedroom. Okay, these sites, TopTel, Freelancer, Guru, you have to spend time. If you have graduated, you have to spend time and look into these and see what fits you, right? What you want to do, and just keep applying for jobs. Okay, these are just a few job search tips, how to land on a nice job. Again, you have to have a plan. You have to have a nice resume. You have to keep applying. You go to different sites, check what's out there. You have to make yourself available. You have to create a resume to match your requirements. Okay. Then and networking helps. A lot of times when a student graduates, he doesn't know where to go, right? But you can reach out to your former senior students. Okay. If you have friends who are working, if you have colleagues who are in business, in or anybody who is working in an industry that can come handy. Okay, yeah, you have to reach out to get better tips, and of course, you want to select your job carefully. Okay, so you always have to wait for the right opportunity. Okay, and yeah, these days you may not have in-person interviews anymore. Okay, with IT, you have to be prepared for remote, just like this. You have to have availability, be professionalism when you're doing a video call. Okay, dress up, shave or not, depends on how you want to look, and just be prepared for the interview online, right? Or even over the phone. Wow. Okay. So it looks like while we are coming to the end, this is one video that I would like to play for you guys. Just give me a moment. This is about the fourth industrial revolution. Okay. I think I have the video ready right here. So, Humaira, am I able to share my video now?
Yes, sir. You can share your video.
Let me know if you don't hear the sound. There is a revolution. It's a digital revolution founded on artificial intelligence and its networks are demanding that we straddle that virtual world and interact with our data.
Audio quality is not that good.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. I was wondering if there's a way to enhance that.
Actually, what you have to do, Bilal, I think hosts need to give the option to share computer audio. So probably that's the reason. And I'm not sure whether with free account that feature is there or not. So you have to live with that.
We have not.
Umaida, have you got the point?
Yes, sir. But we are using basic account, so we haven't the future yet.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I suspect that.
Are you able to hear any sound at all? Right now I'm paused, so.
No, sir, we cannot hear anything. Actually, we are using basic account.
That's fine. That's fine. I will tell you briefly what this is about after you watch the video. Okay, just watch the video. This is about.
Alternately, what you can do, you can share the link with Humaira and Shurab. Later on, they can distribute this one.
Yes, sir. Once we share the recorded version on our YouTube, we can embed the video link there also.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. This is just for the industrial revolution, which is focusing on the information technology, basically, and the renewable energy. Okay, so I thought this would give you more motivation as to the world is huge with a lot of opportunities out there, and you have to come up with ideas as well. You don't have to wait for jobs. You can also have startups ideas. You can create your own tools, own devices, and offer to the world. Okay, and I'm sure there are a lot of investors that would invest in you. Okay, so I am going to stop here and see if we can answer some of the questions you have. Let me see. I think, yeah, the next part was questions. So I know, Humaira, you had a list of questions. Do you want to go one by one, or are there students who have already posed questions?
There are a few students who wanted to ask you questions. I think if you give me 5 minutes, I can just text them so that they can switch on their microphone and ask you the questions. Just give me 5 minutes. Okay, thank you, sir.
And then Dr. Khirmani will move on to your session right after this.
Hello?
So while we wait.
Hello. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. I had actually a query to know. Lastly, you concluded your part saying something in regard of fourth industrial revolution, if I'm not wrong, sir. So my query is that right now in Bangladesh, we students are facing a lot of difficulties while we are thinking about to continue our study on online medium or such platforms that is completely based on online. So while we are still not in the phase, not in the stream of fourth industrial revolution, this completely proves us that we lack a lot of things. We see that we don't have that strength or that energy, particularly in that part, to continue with such a stream to continue our studies. So what do you think that how can we cope ourselves when the things will be much more advanced, when the fourth industrial revolution will be hitting all parts in the world and probably in our neighboring country, India also? How are we going to cope up with that situation as we are struggling right now in this pretty much normal situation?
Okay. So the question is, I'm sorry, what's your name again? The person who has the question?
I'm
Saurabh, yes. You know, Saurabh's question is that with limited resources in Bangladesh, how can they even come close to the fourth industrial revolution? Thank you for this question. But Saurabh, you don't know, you're already in the fourth generation. Do you have a mobile phone that you can connect to your friends all over the world?
Yes.
So IT is
yes,
part of the, okay, IT is part of the fourth industrial revolution. Okay. So there's no need to feel bad about it. It's just the beginning. Okay. Before the fifth generation comes in, you know, you want to be part of it. Just enjoy, flourish. Okay. So it's already there. You're already in it. So you don't have to feel that you're not part of it. You don't have to have resources to connect. Okay. So now the question is the infrastructure. If you're asking about the resources available, okay, you know, there are a lot of things that's not in our power. Okay. In US is different. Okay. I am not going to go into details. Okay. Dr. Baki, would you like to add any comments to that?
Oh, well, definitely it depends country to country, but some part we have to accept, and definitely there will be new scopes, new opportunities. So no need to worry about.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Saurabh?
Yes, sir. I got it, but I have another query. Allow me. Can I shoot another query?
Saurabh, your mic most probably is not working properly. Can you recheck it? It's your voice quality somehow distorted.
Okay, sir. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Hello? Somewhat better.
If you can just write the question in the chat box, I think that would be better. Yeah.
Okay, I'm writing the chat.
Yes, if you have any question, you can write it in the chat box. So the speaker would be able to answer even later on. He would be able to answer your question. So without wasting time, shall we move on to the next part?
I think so.
Yes, Humaira, you can request our honorable speaker.
Okay, thank you so much, Muhammad Bilaluddin sir, for your amazing presentation. I think our students are already our students, as we can see, they have their own questions, and they have been really they have been benefited through your talk. I think this will definitely help them choosing their career even in this pandemic situation. So now we will move on to our special guest speaker, Dr. Mubina Hasan Ali Khirmani. And I'd request ma'am to talk about remote teaching. I'd request ma'am to talk on this topic. Khirmani ma'am, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. Thank you, Dr. Baki, for inviting me, and Muhammad Bilaluddin for recommending my name. I truly enjoyed Dr. Baki's and, of course, Muhammad Bilaluddin's presentation. It was very informative, and I'm hoping that this will energize the students, engineering students, and many, many more, you know, because the world is out open for new opportunities, and COVID-19, while confining in some ways, is opening lots of doors for the young generation. So I want to begin, as I said, I just have a brief remarks to make, but I want to share with you an experience that I have gone through, or experiences that I have gone through, where I have seen technology having a very powerful impact in the teaching learning environment. I know that a majority of you are engineering students, but you could go into teaching, and for that matter, you are in a classroom, either remotely or in a physical classroom learning. So it's very, very applicable, definitely for engineering students, but also for people who are in the field of education, for example. So I want to begin by saying that when I came to United States some nearly 40 years ago, computers were just entering the school systems. And there was a lot of concern about how this technology is going to impact, especially teachers' jobs, because the feeling was computers are going to take over the teachers' jobs, the teachers are going to lose their jobs, and that will be the end of it. And also there was a big concern about how computers were going to impact the social, emotional development of students, especially children, because they were now going to be in front of screens rather than interacting with other children and families and so on and so forth. And I remember when I was at Harvard, there was an article that was published in the Harvard magazine, and the article focused on two people. I was a proponent of technology, whereas the other person was an opponent of technology going into the education system. And my key message as a proponent of technology was that we need to be, as humans, be in control of the technology. As long as we are in control, the technology has tremendous potential for human capital development, for human resource development, for brain development, for all kinds of professions, development in all kinds of professions, and so on and so forth. And today, some 35, 40 years later, I can say that the jobs for teachers are still there. And yes, we are concerned about how technology impacts the social interactions and social emotional development of children, young adults, many like you. But again, the important thing here is that we need to be conscious in our way we propose technologies, design technologies, develop technologies, so that we maintain preserve the human characteristics and are able to give the best through the technology. So I think one key message I want you to take today is we have our doors open and there is great potential. There does not need to be fear as long as we are mindful about how we are taking the next steps. Now, moving forward, I remember that I was at MIT, and I think there was mention about that. I was at the media lab, and there was a professor by the name at MIT called Professor Seymour Peppert. And I was then a doctoral student, and he was kind enough to take me in his lab, and I worked there as a researcher and so on and so forth. And he was developing at that time a logo language for kids so that children could maneuver this robot on the screen, which was a turtle, by simple commands like left, right, forward, back. And as the turtle responded to the commands, it would leave a little line, a trace behind it. So the turtle would start forming different shapes on the screen, circles, squares, unrecognizable patterns. But the kids just loved it. They were so engrossed in engaging with this turtle. And you know what? As they were doing this, they were learning geometry, mathematical concepts, just by having fun with the turtle. And it so happened that I actually did my research on how logo language using a turtle can help children develop geometric concepts. And I had this research in a classroom in Kenya, where one class taught geometry in a traditional way, and another class taught using this logo language. And to see how, this was in a secondary school, how students were comprehending geometry. So I just want to kind of broaden our thinking about technology and how it can help in developing concepts. Moving on, I then used that technology to develop a geography software. Are you talking to me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Actually, we have 3 minutes remaining. After that, this meeting will get disconnected. So everyone will have to log in to the same, using the same meeting ID and password again. We have 2 minutes remaining right now. So if this gets disconnected, please do join again. And I'm really this.
No problem. We will work with the technology. We'll adapt, right? So a geography software where kids could then draw maps and locate sites, cities, locate physical features like mountains, lakes, and so on and so forth. That was the beginning of what I would say geophysical softwares, and you have the GPS systems and all that. So sometimes what you may think is a very rudimentary idea, don't be scared of it. Try it out. Have a team of people, join in, because you don't know what kind of things can transpire from that. As Bilaluddin was saying, be an entrepreneur, be an inventor. I was just a student, and I was able to develop a software that was published by Houghton Mifflin Publishing Company in Boston, So have the motivation, the desire, and say you can, as an individual or as a small group, change the world. And the opportunities are there for you. Now, moving forward, I want to talk to you about a very interesting toy company called the Lego Company. Probably many of you have played with Legos, and these are Lego bricks, right? Different colors that children build. But at MIT, what they did was allow children to use the Legos to develop structures like trucks and bridges and elevators, and then used the logo language. Kids could then move these structures up and down, back and forth. So they could now interface between the screen and the real structures. What were these kids beginning to learn? They were beginning to learn about gravity, movement, engineering, and these Legos also had wheels and axles. So there they were learning these early concepts of engineering, math, science, and so on and so forth. And so tremendous things can happen if you allow yourselves and think outside the box. I want to, and I don't know, I hope I won't get cut off, but moving forward, I just want to quickly share with you the experience at the World Bank. So here I am at the World Bank. I'm looking at women's education. The disparity between female and male education is very vast. The gender gap is very high. And I know that Bangladesh, I believe, is doing much better in terms of girls' education. But I was involved in the project in sub-Saharan Africa, but I had to look at data in other parts of the world. And there were projects that the World Bank was funding to help reduce the gender gap. And guess what? At that time, they were using mechanical technologies, you know. But two main reasons why girls could not go to school was one, economic reasons, because of the parents thinking that the opportunity cost of sending girls was too high. They'd rather have girls stay at home and help with the household chores, help with raising younger siblings, and why pay fees when the girls are going to get married, right? Especially, why send them to secondary school? They're going to get married. And so there was the economic reason. And the second was the social reason, especially in secondary school, believe it or not, in places like Egypt and in parts of sub-Saharan Africa, parents would not send girls to school. One, because of distance to schools. Two, because of lack of separate bathrooms for girls and boys, you know. And third, because in some communities or cultures, uniforms that were imposed on kids, the parents didn't think they were modest enough. So the girls' safety was one of the key reasons why girls were not being sent to school. And guess what? The technology allows the education to be brought within the safe environment or the safety of home. And I think that's a very powerful thing. And more now, with the remote technologies, there is tremendous capacity to deliver education within the confines of home. And so I think I want you all to keep in mind, you may be engineering students, but there is tremendous amount of work in technology, in delivery systems, and so on and so forth, that you may want to put your minds to. So I want to now move on to the present situation, which is COVID-19. And as Dr. Baki mentioned about how they had to kind of get on board very quickly, we here at Towson University, within a week's notice, we were locked down, we had a spring break, we had to learn the tools. And so we were now on board, suddenly online, teaching all these courses. So initially we had two choices, because now we were all in the lockdown. One is what is referred to as synchronous teaching, like what's happening now, right? I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, I mean, you will be talking to me. And it's just that we are not in a physical classroom, traditional classroom, but we are on an online synchronous setup. The other option was asynchronous, right? Which meant that professors could post recorded, videos or PowerPoints, and students could on their own go and do their assignments, do their readings, look at PowerPoints, and so on and so forth. In the synchronous environment, I could, for example, also show a video or show my PowerPoint, as you've seen earlier, right? And so, and students can interact and so on and so forth, which gives a lot of energy. I found that my students wanted to be in synchronous environment, some of them at least, because it gave them that energy to be in connection with the professor. The professor presence, the teacher presence was very important to them. In asynchronous, you might post announcements and send emails and so on and so forth, but you are not necessarily physically live present. Now that in September is on its way, we are going to be asked, we have a third choice now, which is the hybrid form of, delivery of instruction. Why hybrid? Because there is a tremendous pressure for universities to open up. They want to keep their enrollments high and so on and so forth. So we would like to give this hybrid where the professor will be in a classroom with fewer students, socially distanced, and the professor is going to talk to the students, and the cameras around are going to be focusing on the professor, on the students, on the whiteboard, on the blackboard, and then other students, if they want to choose, will remotely connect to that particular lecture. In other words, in real time. So that is what we define as hybrid. In other words, you have a choice to be physically in the classroom, but socially distanced, or you can remotely connect to that particular lecture at that particular time while the professor is giving. So it's a very interesting, and we're doing a lot now to prepare for this fall semester. Now I want to kind of tell you a little bit about, as a professor, as an instructor, some of a few cute, interesting things that what pedagogies, we talk about methodologies and how that gets impacted when you shift from a traditional face-to-face classroom to say a synchronous face-to-face online, like the kind of setup we have here. First of all, in the regular classrooms, are students absent or present, right? I take a roll call, who is present? And there is a policy that the university has, and maybe Ahsanullah university has similar policy, whereas if a student is not present for 2 days or 2 times or 3 times, the student can be asked to withdraw from the course, or can be asked to, may be warned that that student might even fail in that course. Now, what happens in a synchronous classroom like this, for example? You have cameras, I can see your faces, but some students may not have cameras, or may out of choice just show emojis of themselves, right? And so on and so forth. So, and they might just show the emoji and then disappear, right? I can't see and so the question now, and we are still dealing with this, and maybe Dr. Baki has some thoughts on this, is do you, in a synchronous classroom, expect that everybody should be there, and should their faces be shown throughout that period of time to make sure that there was presence of those students in the classroom? If the emojis are there, the student might start playing video games, but just show the emoji, and the professor doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes, right? So that's one of the difference between traditional classroom and a synchronous classroom. The second thing is about textbooks. I know that we all in a traditional classroom, and I believe in Bangladesh, you go and buy textbooks and assigned readings that the professor gives you, especially if there's a new topic, you're supposed to read that. But how do we as instructors follow that? How do we know whether students are reading or not? There is no real, if we really are serious about our students' learning, we want to make sure that they're reading also. So there is no way to monitor that, right? In a traditional classroom. Whereas in a synchronous classroom, I was able to use a digital book. And that book, my students were able to access. The computer was able to highlight, believe it or not, highlight the main points of the chapter. So the student doesn't want to read the whole chapter, can just highlight and get the main points of the chapter. Plus, along as the student is reading, there are pop quizzes asking, these are computer-generated pop quizzes asking students to simple questions to see if the student is comprehending the reading. And those scores, they get scored for that. They get points for that. And so that gets then transported to on Blackboard, electronic Blackboard program that we use to see whether the students, I can see if my students are reading or not. They get points for it, all right? So the pop quizzes and all that are just very interesting. And I found that the reading of my students really increased. Their comprehension, their and so on and so forth, because the way they were responding, I could see that they had read their work, you know, of course. So textbook is another thing. The third part is student participation. You know, we are in a traditional classroom. I come to a classroom, I ask a question, a couple of students raise their hands, right? And they answer. If I want them to expand, I want them to clarify, or me as a professor, while the rest of the students are talking, I mean, are there physically, I can expand on concepts. I can clarify things myself. And I want to make sure everybody is on the same page. And in a physical classroom, as an instructor, you have an oversight of, or you're overlooking all your students, right? And probably some of you engineering students know, sometimes you may be off task, right? You may be, maybe for younger students in secondary schools, they may be disruptive. They may, and so on and so forth. So there is that whole thing that happens in a regular classroom. What happens in a synchronous classroom is there isn't that kind of noise factor, or the Q&A, for example. We have a feature on Blackboard Collaborate where students can raise their hands, and it shows just the hand next to the name of the student. I can click on this, I can tell the student, unmute the student, and the student talks one at a time. I can unmute, right? Or I can unmute the whole class and my students can participate in the question answer. But one thing that in terms of student participation is that there may be a noise factor when you unmute the whole group. You know, I remember one time I had a class, my first class, and my students in America, you know, young students, they had a lot of dogs in their homes, you know, puppies and dogs. And so suddenly I was in front of my students' faces and these puppies barking, and there's a lot of noise, and I had to unmute them, mute them all, you know. And there's a chat feature that we are talking about, right? Now, the other important aspect of teaching is active participation. And we are talking about hands-on activities, science, you know, experiments with real materials, substances, and so on and so forth. And as you know, and I'm sure Mr. Mohammed Bilaluddin can tell us a lot on this, is the simulations are there. In a traditional classroom, you go to a lab and students are supposed to work with, you know, specimens and substances and all that, right? But in a synchronous classroom, you might have, in what happens in our universities, you'll have a lab technician do the experiment while the students are just observing. But we also know that there are lots of new upcoming technologies where students can actually manipulate and actually do science in chemistry, biology, microbiology through virtual tools. I don't know how effective these are. And I think it's a good research area to see whether lab-based, physical lab-based experimentation and hands-on work gives better effect compared to when students work on through online simulations. A couple more points. In your classroom participation, you have small group. In your physical classroom, you might have a large class and you have small group interactions, discussions. So a few students are around a table. Each group has a question or something, a project, and they're discussing, they are sharing their thoughts, they are solving problems, right? In a real classroom. What happens in a synchronous classroom is that the students can be grouped, and I know I was able to do that using Blackboard Collaborate into small groups. I can assign students based either in group A, B, or C, or the computer can generate randomly assigned groups, you know, and students can actually see each other in small groups. I can go in and out of each group, and then I can have them make them presenters, and students, small groups come back, convene into a larger group, and they're able to present their findings, either through a PowerPoint or through a Google Doc, whatever. They will share, each group will share that. So we have that facility in using synchronous technologies. Finally, I want to tell you about something very, very important, which I think affects all of us, and that is tests and exams. In a physical classroom, in a traditional classroom, we know that when there are tests, there are exams, and probably this is true in Bangladesh, there is a restricted classroom environment. Nobody's allowed to cheat or to copy, or you don't have your textbooks around, right? You do the tests and to observe, the integrity of the test and so on and so forth. That has been very challenging in the synchronous classroom, because how do you give a test and the students are in their own environment, they can look at the books, they can copy, they're having a ball of a time. So now the question is, how do you give tests that are going to have integrity, that will not be where students are cheating? So there are some features, at least in the Blackboard Collaborate and the system that we use, that I was able to use, is that you can time the tests. I can give the test right within my synchronous session or soon after, but it can be timed. And you give enough time so that students have the time to read the questions. The other feature that is added is a student cannot go back to the previous question. In other words, a student cannot finish and then, look at the book and change the answer. It's a little harsh. I don't like to use that particular feature, but sometimes students instructors may have to do that. The third feature to allow integrity is that teachers to randomly assign questions. The computer generates, it's the same test, but for example, Ms. Firdaus will have a different question, or Abdul Rahman will have a different question, Salman Khair will different question, Muhammad Abdullah will have different question. So you can't, what was the answer of number one? No, what question? It doesn't, you cannot call a friend and everybody, the computer has the power to generate and randomly give the same questions to different students. So we use that as a powerful tool in that. Finally, I want to say that there is also, as we know, a voice recognition. If you're expecting students to audio answer them, or the face recognition to make sure that nobody else is giving that test, right? So there is a system that allows for that. So what I'm saying here is that technologies are moving forward. There is a lot that we can, as professors, work with the IT people to make the technology more real and give a more hands-on, active experience for our students. So in conclusion, I want to say that yes, COVID-19 has challenged us. It has redefined our classrooms and our workspaces, but it has also given us a tremendous opportunity to develop next generation technologies. The education, the cost of education is going lower because the technologies are available more so than before. Also, there is opportunity for global universities, a project that I am very interested in, and I've talked to Muhammad Bilaluddin about it, and there are already some websites that are offering that, where students from all over the world, I mean, my university and your university can exchange courses. Why not? We need to bring this world to a better place, right? And so we have this whole advancement that is going to come forward for us in terms of technology. And I think we are, although difficult, I think we're at the right time. And you, younger generation, are in a tremendous position to bring about change for a better world. I will stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really wonderful. Ma'am, we have a few questions for you. So one of our participants, Mazeda Zafar, she has asked you a question, which is, I have a question for madam that what measure should we take to serve a COVID-19 patient at home, and how can we remain safe while taking care of them. By this, what she meant is that we might have our relatives or family members affected by COVID-19, and as for us, as our classes are going on, I mean, it is sometimes very hard, to balance those two things, because you are having such kind of situation at your home, and then there is classes and exams that you need to take, because in case of final year students, this is a very crucial things to balance and to do. So how can students be mentally stable and take care of this in that way? So this is what she meant.
Right. That's an excellent question. So what the university, I can only tell you from my experience, right? The university is allowing options. And I think that's very, very important. For example, we have 3 options. I can teach synchronously, I can teach both synchronously and asynchronously, where I can post things on the Blackboard, and I can choose a hybrid, right? Where I physically go there and teach with a small group of students who decide on their own. They have the option to decide either to come to the classroom or not to come to the classroom. Personally, I've opted to do all my classes online. I have, I'm not young, I may look young, but I am, I'm somebody who might be very compromised by COVID. And there are students who don't want to. So that's why the hybrid is open for professors who wish to come. Some professors don't like to teach synchronously. They want to be in the classroom, So both give choices, both to the professors and to the students. And in things are still being planned. We have on our campus quarantine sections and all kinds of ways, to take temperature as they enter the classroom and so on and so forth. So some measures are being taken in place, but the key thing is you cannot force anybody to do one way or the other, but provide them choices. Thank you. Yeah.
I have a question, Dr. Khirmani. It's relevant for us.
Yes.
Do you have concrete plan for fall yet?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have concrete plan for fall?
Oh, what a good question. If you have one, please, I want kindly share it. What is happening is that we had this survey where professors are asked to, are you going to teach synchronously, asynchronously, or hybrid? So based on that, now the students are going to go online and choose their courses. But what we have is that the first year students, are keen on coming to campus, because in the US, college experience is considered very important. So I know that there are students who will come, but housing is being redone. Every classroom is being reconfigured to see how many students are going to be safely. There are going to be flex glasses in front of the instructors so that there is no, for purpose of safety, and so on and so forth. So there are some things that are being pulled together. The intent is to open up the university, I think partly to, not so that the enrollments don't drop, and they're trying to, under very difficult circumstances, trying to see how best to keep the campus safe. There are lots of concerns. We have students who come from all over US and also from outside of the United States in places which are highly COVID, cases. And so how does one decide on that? I am glad I'm not either the president of a university or an administrator, because these are very tough questions, but they are still navigating through this, how best to provide a safe environment.
Thank you. I have one follow-up question. Do you have any survey whether students want to come to class or not? I mean, come to campus or not? Survey?
Do they have classes on site again?
No, no. My question is whether students want to come to campus or not.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of data on that?
That's a good question. We do not have, I do not have the data, but I think once they get the enrollments, they will know which students are opting for coming to campus and which students are going to go totally online. I think that is where our data, and the enrollments open next in middle of July. So the courses will be available. So I think that's when we will get the data. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
So can I interfere here? We had two questions, very good questions. It was addressed to either of us, okay? So they were unable to attend. So there's some students, okay? They don't have internet connections, okay? They are unable to attend the classes online, okay? In this situation, they are mentally breaking down as they are thinking of getting behind, okay? What suggestions can we give them? So this was one of the questions. And then we have one more question that we can discuss. This is probably prevalent. There should be there are probably currently many students, I will say millions, okay? Not only limited to Bangladesh. Even in the first world, even in US, education is expensive, okay? We have internet connections, but we don't have free education here even, right? So I will let Dr. Khirmani answer this. So they are mentally breaking down because they feel they are getting behind, okay? Behind because other students who can afford and they have all the resources available, they're going forward. These students who are lacking behind in internet connections, computers, not enough resources to help them move along. And the problem is they're getting depressed. So what kind of suggestion would you give, Dr. Khirmani?
Well, economic disparities are everywhere, as we know, right? I mean, and that is such a sad state of affairs. And I think if people, if at least in the field of education, if there is one way that humanity can give, is to give technologies to the poorest. You know, that's a very important area of focus. Giving should be in that area because you're giving education to different homes. I can tell you from my own experience, even though in the US, my students all had computers and sometimes there were technical, you know, problems. Students could not join because of whatever, you know. And I know in the school systems in the area, I know that there were homes where the technology was not there. You know, as Dr. Baki was also talking about the spaces at homes, and there are just so many lots of issues. One way that our university, and I cannot speak for the whole world here, but honestly, that's a great area of need. In our universities, for every professor who is going to go synchronously or asynchronously, will be provided whatever technology they want. In other words, at the end, before the semester begins, I've been asked, what technology do you need? You know, if I need a laptop or you know, so there is that option. I'm not answering the question, the real painful question, you know, about what happens. I know my students could come in through the voice, through the telephone, just to listen to the lecture. And that's why I think it's very important that professors who teach synchronously also give the information asynchronously on Blackboard so that their recorded websites, PowerPoints, the assignments for the week, the case studies, the readings, everything is packaged in a very organized way for students so that if they miss the synchronous class, they have the opportunity in their own time, at their own space, if they can go to the library or maybe borrow a computer, I don't know, can do that And so we have to relax as we are getting out of COVID-19, relax the deadlines for students. We cannot expect that you must finish this by this time. We have to extend the deadlines so that asynchronously students can access whatever they need to do. That's what comes to mind.
Sir,
Bilal,
your microphone is
mic,
muted.
Unmute your mic, Bilal.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Dr. Khirmani, for addressing that. Again, I want to add, I already said that in my presentation. Yes, there are a lot of reasons for everyone to go through the mental breakdown, okay? You want to find ways not to break up, okay? You're not alone. Remember, the students who are feeling that they are lacking behind and they're going through mental breakdown, you have to remember there are millions out there just like you. And yes, the chances are there would be some friends of yours, they would go forward and you would be lacking behind. Well, it doesn't mean that there's no 2021 or 2022, okay? Maybe 2020 would be very bad for you. Yes, you have to just accept it and just be patient because you have better days coming up, okay? So please do not have a mental breakdown, okay? And there was one more question. It says, due to this current pandemic, the poverty rate is definitely going to increase, which will result in more dropouts from the educational sector. What do you think are the protective measures we need to take to prevent this? You know, we are not the head of the Department of Education. We're not the Education Minister. I will decide what is good for my child, okay, or within my family members, okay. This is a very big question. I mean, Dr. Khirmani, what do you think? There's going to be poverty, okay? There's going to be poverty among the poor, and how will they afford? How will they continue with the education?
But remember that, as you mentioned, the Minister of Education, people in policy making who have access to resources, they need to make the priority, I feel, to bring the technology to the homes of every child, you know, to make it, or well, when I was at MIT, we had Professor Seymour Peppert, we need to have a technology like we have a pencil. Every child needs technology. So I think that if the schools are going to close down and all that, whatever resources are there need to go into purchasing technologies and making them available. Remember, 75% of sub-Saharan Africa, for example, is rural. But, and it won't happen overnight, but the solar energy, the wind energy, all those are also coming into play. I see a much better world, you know, where the technologies are going and all these solar energies and all that are also coming in place. And it may not happen in a year or two, but if we all pull ourselves together to think that this is the next wave, I think that we can, in positions of power, leadership, as you were saying, Muhammad Bilaluddin, can take important steps, measures to make equitable education.
I still think, you know, the students need to understand how can they avoid being dropouts because they cannot pay tuition fees, for example, okay? The private universities are not free, okay? So yes, there is a little bit of threat that for next year or next semester, in order to have the money to enrollment, right? If they cannot pay the fees, university is not gonna enroll them for free, not in US, not in Bangladesh, right? So the question is, how can they avoid this dropout scenario? Not that there are a lot of jobs available now, right? If you can manage to have a job, you can do that. You know, you can find online jobs, offer yourself, get trained on some programming skills that you can offer. So you can be a student and be working at the same time. Okay, so you may have to adopt that new normal.
I think
does that make sense?
You answered that well,
because you know, we are not the policy makers, Dr. Khirmani. So we can change that. But what we can do is we can work and go to school at the same time. Find anything to do. Okay. I don't know
Absolutely.
what is available in your area, in where you live in Dhaka or somewhere else. So you have to find ways to earn money. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe Dr. Baki can chime in, or Dr. Kalam can chime in on this one, who.
Yeah, please, because
Uh, Thank you. What I can tell actually in terms of I can give what here as a society did to tackle this problem. For example, internet provider they eliminate the restriction, make it unlimited. Okay, so internet providers gave that opportunity so that one student can do his or her job from home. So again, in terms of student loan, right, payment, so that is postponed. So what I'm trying to tell here that this is not there is no silver bullet for this. As a society as a whole, we have to work. I mean, in Bangladesh, from all sectors, they need to participate here. They need to sacrifice. University need to sacrifice. Yes, students need to sacrifice their hours to do other job. And loan should be available to the students so that they can pay the fee, whatever fees university, is asking for. So it is not that responsibilities goes to everybody. That's my point. And everybody should participate to overcome this situation. That's, I think, what I think. I'm not an economist or anything that from simple thought that I think that's we can do. Thank you.
I think there's another question. Right. Go ahead, Dr. Baki, go ahead.
Yeah. Before you move on to next question, let me just add some points. One point, I was watching some such kind of debate on Facebook with respect to generally, and not public, not private, general university. So what I have gathered from that discussion, that we are lacking mainly two main things. One is the internet connection, that means insurance of internet connection at the remote area. The other is the device. Okay, a device, I guess it's with respect to either laptop or desktop. So these are the main issues. And with respect to private universities, as the previous speakers have mentioned, also I also want to add, since we are not the policy maker, but we know the situation regarding the tuition fees. I believe the university authority will take measure so that the dropout rate can be minimized. Okay, maybe tuition. One option is just loan from the bank, or tuition waiver, or delay of payment. So definitely there will be some way so that we can stop the dropout rate. And there was one question regarding that question. Also, I need to add, already Dr. Khirmani she has answered. If really anyone is facing such kind of problem, that with respect to not having device, that means synchronous classes, uh, in that case, definitely he or she, since we cannot ask, as I have mentioned on the first class, there are some legal issues. We cannot ask, or whether you have laptop or whether you need any other thing. So the specific student should approach to some through even I will suggest, if necessary, to the university authority, through somewhere. He should not be, I don't have the laptop, so I'm missing. So it should not happen. It should not be continued.
Right. I just want to quickly add one sentence, that go positive. Technology is allowing for cheaper education. And so
Well, Dr. Khirmani, let me explain something. We are extremely sorry that interruptions are being happening again and again due to this. This is one case. You can the Zoom and the meeting on I have mentioned that we are using Zoom. Okay, so I have the Zoom account that is allowing me to take classes uninterrupted. Uninterrupted Zoom classes, and I mean from the side of the provider, there is no interruption. I can take about 300 participants can attend a meeting, but the student they are using free Zoom version. Okay, I didn't stop them. There is a question why I was not. Someone has asked me the question why I was not using my account. So the reason I wanted my students to learn these things also. Okay, so that's why I allowed them to arrange this event with this version of Zoom. Again, sorry for this kind of interruption.
I have another meeting, but I just want to thank Mr. Baki and the rest of the Ahsanullah team here for inviting me, and I want to wish you all the very, very best. And hopefully we will come out better, stronger as a human community. So thank you again, and respectfully, I would like to now log off if you don't mind.
Thank you, Dr. Khirmani. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much again. Bye-bye.
Like to have you once again.
Inshallah.
Maybe in future.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
So,
okay. So can
Bilal,
can we give more chance to these students? We want to know what kind of more questions they have, what kind of frustrations they're going through. Maybe we'll try to address as much as possible. And thank you, Dr. Kalam, for staying with us. So maybe we can utilize you as well.
Sir, there was a question from one of our participants, Pabliha Sadat, who asked that how we are gonna be doing the lab classes online, because labs are something where we need to do the experiments by ourselves. It has to be done by hand in a practical way. So how this is gonna happen online?
Okay, so this question goes directly to Dr. Kalam. Go ahead.
So I think that would be one of the key issue I am hoping to discuss on July 15th. So I am asking you to patiently wait for that. I hope you all will be there, right?
Before that, Professor Kalam, let me announce something. Since you yourself has announced, we have another session on July 15th, and Professor Kalam will experience he will share his experience with us. Please join.
Yeah, Dr. Kalam, be prepared. This is a tough question. I don't know how you can do chemical experiments online.
Yeah, that question I did not ask with Dr. Khirmani, and I did not ask follow up another question because I had. So we can talk about that in next time. All right. Can everybody hear me? Is it okay?
It's okay. Yes, it's okay. Humaira, go ahead with the next questions. Shaurabh, go ahead. What questions do you have?
Okay, sir. So there was another question that we had. We had a few questions regarding higher studies. I mean, students who are interested to pursue higher studies, the final year students, students who are in final year right now, they might be interested in pursuing their higher studies in different countries. So their question was like, there were a lot of questions like this. What kind of difficulties are going they are going to be facing due to this crisis, and if this is going to be harder for them to, go for higher studies in different countries, especially in USA, and how they're gonna.
Okay, stop right there. Can I stop you right there?
This, yeah.
Yeah, I think I already covered that. If you stay alive, you can have higher studies. Okay, so right now you're safe. Stay safe. Stay alive. Don't worry about higher studies right now. Okay, just be patient, right? And I will pass the opportunities. There are plenty of opportunities, and I'll have Dr. Kalam, add to this. Go ahead, Dr. Kalam.
Thank you. And Bilal started with very optimistic scenario and very hopeful. And I would like to add a little bit pessimistic point here in terms of who really eager to come over here at this time. Okay. And Bilal said it nicer way, but I am gonna tell you, plain language. Situation at this point in terms of economy, if you want.
Sir, আমার মনে হয় আমরা বাংলা বলতে পারবো এখন
আচ্ছা
ডক্টর কিরমানি ইজ গন এখন তো মোটামুটি সবাই বাংলা বুঝে গেছেন তাই না?
Yes sir.
ঠিক আছে, এটা তো কোনো সমস্যা না। তো এখন এখানে যদি কেউ আসতে চায় এই মুহূর্তে ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সাপোর্ট নিয়ে আসা, it is মানে এটা ধরে নেওয়া যায় it would be near impossible. আমি বলছি না ইম্পসিবল এই মুহূর্তে, ইন জেনারেল। अगेन আমি কিন্তু এই কথাটা আবার আমি রিপিট করতে চাই, এর অর্থ এই না যে একেবারে কোথায় পাওয়া যাবে না, কিন্তু ধরে নিতে হবে এই কম্পিটিশনটা হবে 100 গুণ বেশি। আগে যেটা ছিল তার চেয়ে 100 গুণ বেশি এখন কম্পিটিশন। তো সেই অবস্থাটা ধরতে হবে, ধরে তারপরে আগাতে হবে। কারণ কেউ যদি চিন্তা করে আমি এখানে স্কলারশিপ নিয়ে বা ওই যে রিসার্চ আরএশিপ নিয়ে আসব, সেই সম্ভাবনাটা এখন অনেক কমে গেছে, অনেক, এই কোভিড-19 এর কারণে। তো যার জন্য এখন এই জন্য বেলাল যে বলছে যে সার্ভাইভিং, এখন হলো গিয়া বেঁচে থাকাটাই হলো গিয়া মূল, সেই দিকে আমার মনে হয় ভালোভাবে বেঁচে থাকা, সোসাইটির মধ্যে অ্যাজ এ সোশ্যাল বিইং হিসেবে বেঁচে থাকাটাই হলো এখন মুখ্য উদ্দেশ্য হওয়া উচিত আমাদের, আমি সেটা মনে করি। তো হায়ার স্টাডির জন্য হ্যাঁ প্রিপারেশন নেওয়া যায় বা আসা যায়, কিন্তু ব্যাক ইন ইউর মাইন্ড আমাদের ওইটা মনে রাখতে হবে যে সিচুয়েশন এখন ভালো না, অর্থনৈতিক অবস্থা ভালো না। হ্যাঁ, কেউ যদি পয়সা থাকে, টাকা যদি থাকে, মানে ইট উড বি ভেরি ভেরি ইজি। কিন্তু যখন গ্রাজুয়েট স্টাডি ধরে নেওয়া হয়, আমি মনে করি তাহলে একজন স্টুডেন্টের এক্সপেকটেশন থাকে যে সে কিছু ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সাপোর্ট এখানে পাবে। অনেকে মনে করে যে হ্যাঁ আরে আমি এক সেমিস্টার করে তারপরে এখানে এসে কাজ টাজ করে তারপরে আমি ম্যানেজ করব, সেটা কিন্তু কঠিন হয়ে যাবে। কারণ হয়েছে এখানেও কিন্তু বেকারের মানে সংখ্যা বেড়ে গেছে, বেকার সমস্যা কিন্তু এখানে প্রকট এখন বলা যায়। তো যার জন্য এটা কিন্তু অপরচুনিটিটা, সুযোগটা কিন্তু কমে গেছে, সেটা মনে রাখতে হবে আর কি।
Okay, apart from this, there is another question. Let me read it out for you. My question is, how can we take part in the exam through online? Can this be a fair way to inspect students' knowledge? So yeah, you can add something. You can add.
এক্সাম আমি যেটা তাহলে এই কোশ্চেনটাও আমি এখন একটা প্রিলিমিনারি ধারণা দেই, কিন্তু এই কোশ্চেনটার ওই কোশ্চেন যদি আমি বুঝে থাকি যে অনলাইনে কিভাবে এক্সাম ফেয়ারলি দেওয়া যায়, তাই তো?
এক্স্যাক্টলি।
আচ্ছা, এটার অনলাইনে দেওয়া সম্ভব। ডক্টর কিরমানি কিছুটা আইডিয়া দিছে, প্রবাবলি ওটা অত ক্লিয়ার হয় নাই, কিন্তু এটা আমি ওই ডেমনস্ট্রেশনও দেখাতে পারবো নেক্সট টাইম, আই উইল ট্রাই। কিন্তু যে জিনিসটা হলো আমি সংক্ষেপে বলি যে এখানে অনেকগুলো সার্ভিস কোম্পানি দেয়, প্রক্টর ইউ ওয়ান অফ দেম, যেটা ওই জিআরই ওরা ইউজ করতেছে কিন্তু এখন, প্রক্টর ইউ। এটা হয় কি যে ওই ক্যামেরা থাকতে হবে, স্পিকার থাকতে হবে, এবং ওই পুরা রুমটাই কিন্তু ভিডিও হবে তখন। এবং হয় কি ওই কম্পিউটারে শুধু ওই একটা স্ক্রিনই থাকবে, আর কোনো ব্রাউজারের কোনো ট্যাবে যাওয়ার আর কোনো স্কোপ নাই, দ্যাটস ইট। ঠিক আছে, জাস্ট একটাই বললাম। এরপরে যদি ওই স্টুডেন্ট যদি নড়াচড়া করে অন্যদিকে চায়, সাথে সাথে ওটা ফ্ল্যাগ হয়ে যাবে। এটা হলো অটোই হয়ে যাচ্ছে, ফ্ল্যাগ হয়ে যাবে। এবং ফ্ল্যাগ হলে ওইটা রিভিউ হয়ে যদি দেখা যায় যে ওই ছাত্র বা ছাত্রী অন্য কিছু করছে, মানে এক্সপেল হয়ে যাবে। আর আরেকটা অপশন আছে যে এরকম পয়সা দিয়ে, মানে এইরকম একেবারে ভিডিও এখন যেরকম একজনকে আরেকজনে আমরা দেখছি, ওই রকম লাইভ সিনক্রোনাইজড, যেটা ওই লাইভ ওইটা প্রক্টরিং করা যায়, সেই অপশনও ওখানে আছে। তো এটা সংক্ষেপে এটা করলাম। আর অন্য কোশ্চেন কিভাবে করবে সেটার আলাদা টেকনিক তো আছেই। কোশ্চেনের আনসার কি ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে? আমি ঠিক, ইজ ইট ক্লিয়ার?
I guess what you have mentioned is, yeah, with respect to maybe this is a future solution, but I'd like to add something more. With according to the guideline for Bangladesh, if you consider Bangladesh, you are familiar with UGC,
right,
University Grant Commission. So they haven't allowed yet online exam, particularly in our case, online exam system. Okay, so if we would like to move on to online exam system, definitely the policies should be formulated.
Right. এটা একটা জিনিস হলো যে এখানে ওই যে প্রক্টরিউর কথা বললাম, এটা কিন্তু পেইড একটা আর কি অ্যাপ্লিকেশন, এটা কিন্তু ফ্রি না, এটা পয়সা দিতে হয়। তো এখন ওইটা পয়সা দিয়ে তারপরে করতে হয়, এবং ওটা তো ওই দুই স্টেজে আছে, অটো প্রক্টরিং আছে বা ইন পারসন প্রক্টরিং আছে। সে দুইটা অপশনই আছে ওখানে। ইন পারসন প্রক্টরিং এ পয়সা বেশি, অটোতে পয়সা কম। কিন্তু এখন এটা পলিসি তো ইউনিভার্সিটি বাংলাদেশ এটা করতেই হবে, কারণ হচ্ছে বেসিক ডিফারেন্স হলো এখানে আর বাংলাদেশে হলো যে পরীক্ষাগুলো ওখানে হলো গিয়ে পাবলিক এক্সাম, এখানে এগুলো তো পাবলিক এক্সাম না। এখানে প্রফেসর কোশ্চেন করে, তার উপরে বেস করে ছাত্ররা মানে পরীক্ষা দেয়, তার উপরে গ্রেডিং হয় এবং আমরা গ্রেড দেই। বাংলাদেশে আপনাদেরও তো নিশ্চয়ই ওরকম আছে, ওই কমিটি হয়, তারপর কোশ্চেন মডারেট হয়, তারপরে পরীক্ষা, নাকি আমি কি ভুল বলছি নাকি?
খানিকটা পার্ট রয়ে গেছে, ফাইনাল এক্সাম যেটা সেটাতে কোয়েশ্চেন মডারেশন হয়ে থাকে।
রাইট, ওই তো এখানে তো ফাইনাল এক্সামে ওই তো মডারেশন বলতে কিছু নাই, প্রফেসর যেটাই করবে সেটাই, যার জন্য এটাকে তো পাবলিক এক্সাম হিসেবে কনসিডার করা হয় না। তো বাংলাদেশে এটা টেকনিক্যাল একটা প্রবলেম আছে, আমি জানি এটা এত সহজ হবে না। পাবলিক এক্সাম আর এই ধরনের এক্সামের মধ্যে একটা বেসিক ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্যালি একটা ডিফারেন্স আছে।
Can we move to the next question? Is there any question, Humaira or Bilal? Do you have any pending question to answer?
আমার মনে হয় এখানে কোনো আমি কোশ্চেন দেখছি না, এমনি মৌখিক স্টুডেন্টরা বলতে পারে, যারা অনলাইন কানেক্টেড আছে ওরা বলতে পারে, you don't have to type, দেখেন। and if you don't have any questions then we are good.
একটা কি আসছে এখানে দেখলাম,
ও একটা আসছে না,
students who got a scholarship just before pandemic and were about to start their classes in upcoming session, but now they are in hold due to lockdown, will they lose that scholarship opportunity? এটা ইউনিভার্সিটি টু ইউনিভার্সিটি ভ্যারি করবে। আমি এই মিটিং এ এইখানে এই থাকা অবস্থায় একটা ইমেল পাইছি, জাস্ট টু গিভ ইউ অ্যান আইডিয়া হোয়াট ইজ গোয়িং অন। আমরা গেল সপ্তাহে একটা মিটিং করছি, যেটা আমি একটা কমিটির অংশ, যেখানে আমরা এখানে রিসার্চ ফান্ড দেই, ঠিক আছে, আমি সেই কমিটির একটা অংশ। আমরা রিসার্চ মানে কমিটি ডিসাইড করে কে কে পাবে, কত টাকা পাবে, সেটা ডিসাইড করে আমরা এখানে হায়ার অথরিটি, যেটা প্রভোস্ট আর কি, প্রভোস্টের অফিসে পাঠাই সিনেটের মাধ্যমে। তো সিনেট সেই নিয়ে কমিটির ডিসিশন নিয়ে কালকে গেছিল, আজকে আমি ইমেল পাইলাম যে এবছর এই রিসার্চের কোনো ফান্ড দেওয়া হবে না, অ্যাপ্লিকেন্টদের যেন জানাই দেওয়া হয়। এই জাস্ট এই পাইলাম আর কি। হ্যাঁ, সো অথচ আমরা কিন্তু মিটিং করছি ওই বেসিসে যে আমাদের এত টাকা আছে, কিন্তু এখন সেই টাকাটা নাই বা অন্যভাবে সেটা ডাইভার্ট হয়েছে। তো ওই এরকম সিচুয়েশন ইনস্ট্যান্টলি কোন দিকে ভোলাটাইল। এই জন্য আমি কিন্তু ডক্টর কিরমানিকে জিজ্ঞাসা করছিলাম যে তাদের এই ফলের কিভাবে ক্লাস নিবে তার কোনো কনক্রিট প্ল্যান আছে কিনা। কেউ কোনো কনক্রিট প্ল্যান নাই, কোনো কনক্রিট প্ল্যান নাই।
But I know two cases, sir. Professor, yeah, let me point out. Dr. Kalam, this, I know two cases. Okay, one case is regarding is not exactly related to scholarship, rather related to postgrad admission. Okay, so semesters have been studied in two countries. One is in Europe, the other is in Canada. Okay, so students, yeah, definitely one of them is from Ahsanullah University. Students have already studied their online classes from Bangladesh. So this is one example that things are on the way. It's not stop.
Now, to answer the question, Fabihar যে কোশ্চেনটা ছিল, আমি বলবো যেখান থেকে স্কলারশিপ অ্যাপ্রুভ হয়েছে ওদেরকে ডিরেক্টলি জিজ্ঞেস করলে তখন you will get the best answer.
That's true. That's true. আর যে স্টুডেন্ট ক্লাস শুরু করছে এটা যদি ইউএসএ হয়ে থাকে তার স্কলারশিপ ক্যান্সেল হওয়ার কোনো কারণ নাই।
Makes sense. Come on, who else has questions?
So I guess we are done with the questions. We don't have any in our hand.
So we can conclude the session here.
Final remarks. Go ahead, somebody.
So if you have anything to add, finally you can add it, and then I'll go to Bati sir, and then I'll conclude.
Do you still want me to add more? I think I have added enough. I was hoping to get more questions from all these students who feel depressed, they feel down, you feel what's going to happen. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions, তোমাদের যদি question না থাকে, then I think we are good. কি বলেন?
It was a long session though. I mean, but I enjoyed definitely. Thank you, Bilal.
I'm honored.
Thank you so much, sir. It has been a great pleasure and honor for us to have you all here. And since this is a very unrest situation, you guys have given us that time and effort to take the session and enlighten our students. We are really thankful to you all. Also, we would like to apologize for our technical inconveniences, because this is our first webinar from IEEE AUST Student Branch. So we have gone through a little bit of technical difficulties, but we hope that this will not be like this in the coming sessions. So we really hope that we will learn from the mistakes that we had today, and we are really sorry for all the inconvenience that has happened. And we are just thankful to our guests, to our honorable guests, and to all the participants who were patient enough to be with us till now, and has just logged into this session like 4 times right now. So we are really thankful to all of you, and our apologies to you for the inconvenience, since this is the first time for us. We really hope to overcome this difficulties in the next sessions.
I think there's one more question popped up. Go ahead, read it out.
Yeah, this is a question, sir, from Fahim Faisal. Sir, due to pandemic, sessions are delaying. Where some universities are continuing their sessions, would that be a drawback for us? I mean, in some universities, the sessions are delaying, where other universities are continuing with the session. So there might occur an inconsistency. I think he wanted to highlight that fact.
আমি একটু এই যে ডিলেইং কি বাংলাদেশে না এখানে, সেটা আমার কাছে ক্লিয়ার না, এটা কি বলছে?
With respect to in general, with respect to one university, another university. For example,
No.
some universities running their semester through online classes, online exam, but the other university somehow delayed. So that was, I guess, that was his question.
এটা বাংলাদেশের কথা বলছে, তাই তো?
You can answer generally.
No, generally meaning ওইটাই, কিন্তু এখানে কিন্তু কোনো সেশন মানে কিন্তু ডিলে হয় নাই।
তো এখানে কিন্তু অনলাইন আছে। ফাহিম কি অনলাইন আছে?
Can you speak out, Fahim?
Fahim, can you hear us? If you can hear us, just unmute your microphone.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, আমি কয়েক মানে বাংলায় বলি স্যার।
বাংলায় বলো।
কয়েকদিন মানে AIUB NSU তে আছে, UIU তে আছে, ওরা যেমন কয়েকদিন আমি আমার AIUB এর ফ্রেন্ডকে দেখলাম, ওদের নতুন সেমিস্টার শুরু হয়েছে, মানে আমাদের সাথে নতুন সেমিস্টার শুরু হয়েছে, যেখানে আমরা ক্লাস করতেছি, ঠিক আছে, বাট আমাদের পরীক্ষা কিভাবে হবে বা এরকম কিছু যদি হয় বা না হয়, আমাদের সেমিস্টার যদি এই সেমিস্টারই কন্টিনিউ করে, ওরা যেহেতু আমাদের থেকে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে, তো সেটা কি আমাদের জন্য কোনো ড্রব্যাক নাকি?
আচ্ছা, আমি ওর কোয়েশ্চনে খানিকটা কমেন্ট করি, দেন ইউ ক্যান কমেন্ট। ওকে, সো ফাহিম, সো দ্যাট ইজ রোল, ইউ নো, কিছু ইউনিভার্সিটি এটা ট্রাইমেস্টার সিস্টেমে চলে, অলরাইট? তো তুমি যে দুটো ইউনিভার্সিটি মেনশন করলে, এটা ট্রাইমেস্টার সিস্টেম। ওকে, সো দে হ্যাড টু স্টার্ট দেয়ার সেমিস্টার, এবং তাদের এক্সাম প্রসেসটা, আমি আমার কলিগ রয়ে গেছেন অন্য ইউনিভার্সিটিতে, আমাদেরকে জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলাম যে আপনারা কিভাবে যাচ্ছেন। তো ওরা যেটা বলেছে, ওদের অ্যাডমিশন প্রসেসটা প্যান্ডেমিকের আগেই শেষ হয়ে গিয়েছিল, অলরাইট? তো ওরা ওই সেমিস্টারটা শুরু করেছে। তো এবং ওদের বছরে যেহেতু 3টা সেমিস্টার, ওদের সঙ্গে আমাদের সেমিস্টারে মিলবে না। দিস ইজ ওয়ান থিং। আর একটা বিষয় হচ্ছে, তোমার কোয়েশ্চেনের সঙ্গে যেটা গিয়েছে, আমি আমার স্লাইডে মেনশন করেছি, ডিসপ্যারিটি যেটা ডিফারেন্স তৈরি করে, সেটাকে অবশ্যই অ্যাড্রেস করতে হবে, মিনিমাইজ করতে হবে। তো আমাদের ইউনিভার্সিটি সেটা অবশ্যই খেয়াল রাখতে। ফর এক্সাম্পল, আমাদের যে প্যান্ডেমিক সিচুয়েশনটা বেড়ে গেছে, আমরা লকডাউন সিচুয়েশনে রয়ে গেছি, এখানে ইউনিভার্সিটির একার কিছু করার নেই। হ্যাঁ, গেস্ট আপনারা কিছু অ্যাড করতে চান?
না, তাহলে এটা তো বাংলাদেশের মানে ইউনিভার্সিটি গুলোর কথাই বলছে, কিন্তু আমার যেটা হয়েছে, এখানে কিন্তু আমাদের ওই যে ফল কবে শুরু হবে সেটা কিন্তু ডিসাইডেড, এখানে কিন্তু কোনো চেঞ্জ হয় নাই। মেজরিটি ইউনিভার্সিটি দে ডিড নট চেঞ্জ দেয়ার স্টার্টিং ডেট, দেয়ার ইজ সাম মডিফিকেশন, যেটা আমি ওর কথা মানে আমি পরে করব, কিন্তু মানে আমাদের সেমিস্টার যেটা শেষ হওয়ার কথা যখন, সেই সময় শেষ হয়েছে। সামার যখন শুরু হওয়ার কথা, সামার তখনই শুরু হয়েছে, ওই তারিখের কিন্তু এখানে কোনো চেঞ্জ হয় নাই। এই যত অসুবিধার মধ্যে আমরা গেছি, তাতেও কখনো কোনো তারিখের চেঞ্জ আমাদের হয় নাই। শেষ কবে শেষ,
same thing happens, drawback, you don't have to worry about drawbacks right now. Jack, কিছু university they may start, it's okay, you have to do what you can do, তাই না?
So we can conclude the session. Humaira, please. Humaira, you can conclude this session.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time and support and contribution. We are really grateful to all of you, and thanks to the participants who has been really patient with us. And I'd really like to thank you all, and I'm concluding this session here today, but I really hope that in future we will meet again, maybe through internet or maybe in a physical way if everything gets back to normal. So till then, assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you so much, and have a good day, and stay blessed.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.
Wa alaikum assalam.